What's up, guys? Welcome to Unplayable. We have Jay, we have David, and myself, Jim, here to react about the hot off the press news from FFG. It is September 15th, 2:30 Eastern Standard Time. Wow, what a day it's been.
Oh, let's all do our poses for our thumbnail.
You'll never believe the update. Too funny. So, FFG just came on stream. They had a big announcement for us, and Force Throw is now on the suspended list.
It is.
We're here just to give our quick thoughts, quick reactions. Do we think it was necessary? How does this change what's going on?
Pretend this is a force throw. Oh, dang it.
That's Rio Durant. You can't rip Rio Durant, dude. Come
Yeah,
on.
man, it's one of your best ones. You can't do that.
Yeah. That's
mind.
crazy, though. That's crazy.
Gone.
We don't rip cardboard on this stream. So
Unless it's unpredictable, and that's a throwback.
That is
That
a deep
is
cut.
a throwback.
That's a deep cut.
incredible work.
Oh, force throw gone. Set one.
Force Throw's
card.
gone. What what are our initial thoughts? Do we think this was necessary?
Do I think it was necessary? I thought this trash was necessary before Worlds ever happened, Coach.
Come on.
Go ahead and tell you that right now. Whew, what Worlds would have been like if they did this earlier? I mean, the writing was on the wall. Did you hear them? They said like 85% of the last top 8s of PQs has been all red.
Yeah,
Woo,
that
that's a lot.
that was a big part of the stream. Just to kind of give a quick recap, is like you said, roughly 70 to 75%. I think was the top 8, and close to 80% of the winners had the aggression color as part of it. And I think they were saying cunning was down to like 30 or 35%. Obviously, with the way the math works, they should all be roughly 50% of the share, and so that just shows you how big of a disparity that was. And force throw was very predominant in most of those lists.
Yep. I mean, I literally like probably all besides Cadme and Tarkentown were running Force Throw, which is just
So-
crazy.
Yeah, why is force throw such a problem?
No, you're the competitive player here, Coach. You tell me.
Okay, so I brought Quinlan to Worlds because I love Quinlan. I think it's got great matchups across the board, at least 45% or higher, no matter who you play. And force throw is a major piece of that. Hand hate is super powerful in every card game. Slightly less powerful in Star Wars Unlimited because you're drawing 2 cards every single turn rather than just one. But making your opponents not be able to play anything from their hand means you get to play things, they don't get to play things, therefore you're likely to win the game. That's the super simplified version of what's going on. Force throw not only got rid of their hand, but it also killed their units and had other shenanigans going on. That was just really hard to play around. There's a lot of conversation about just keep low-costed cards in your hand, but then your opponent just discards their 9-cost Crate Dragon and kills your leader anyway. So much going on with force throw. That was just the same play style over and over and over again, and it kind of felt like even if you were playing against Han2 or Talzin or Kylo, they all kind of felt the same with the force throw shenanigans.
Yep. And one of the big things, in my opinion, is like one Force Throw was fine, but I feel like your win rate went up literally exponentially if you played 2 Force Throws in the first like 4 turns.
Yeah.
Like, it was just so impressive.
And Clockwork made a good point in the chat here that all for 1 cost, so you could force throw and play a unit. So you just your value is just so high.
Yeah.
The only drawback being just you have to have a force unit out. Coming out in a set where almost everything had a force tag attached to it meant that there really wasn't a drawback to the card. It was a 1 cost win the game in some instances kind of card, and that's just extremely powerful. Usually we see those tacked on to like Devastators that are costing 10 that you have to spend your whole game building up to, and the fact that like turn 2 or 3 you could basically go and say like, hey, I probably won this one. If we want to go move on to the next game, we could do that. Not quite to that extreme, but it sometimes felt like that. So
Yeah, it was dumb, and it's very obvious that like this card was designed in set 1 way before they ever even came up with the idea of making a full Force set.
yeah, well, because like Force Lightning was a card that's extremely powerful as well. That also came out in set 1.
Yeah,
That's only just now seeing play because Force units are so prevalent, and so that with the attachment of needing a Force unit out there made a big difference. where Force Throw, I mean, it has been prominent since set 1.
Yeah.
So,
and I was playing Force Throw in set 1. I was one of the few because it was
sure,
staple
gang.
spirit. Yes,
that's right.
And that was like the game plan against Boba back then.
Yeah.
It was they flipped their Boba. You Force Throw your Luke or your Redemption to kill Boba, and that's how you win. But yeah, I think it's time. It had its heyday, and I'm ready for the meta to get mixed up.
For sure. So yeah, obviously this affects competitive play quite a bit. As you guys are now under the impression of like, okay, this boogeyman is gone. What about like deck building or like what's something you've wanted to try that maybe Force Throw has just kept away for a while that you're like actually excited to bust back out again?
I wouldn't say try, but because I've definitely tried it before. But Han 1 coming back out to play for all of set 6 before he gets rotated. Thank you. Playing my favorite deck ever.
So yeah, Han from Sparker Rebellion, one of the leaders that really has been around since the beginning of time with like Sabine in particular, that they just stay. They've kind of been evergreen, but it got pushed out so
completely.
Quickly.
Yeah. DJ got banned, so Han like got hit there, and then also Force Throw became super prevalent. So it's like two things really pushed it hard out of the meta.
Right. Yeah, obviously they really hit the hammer on a lot of the best cunning cards anyway. And even still, Han was able to find a way to like at least stay on tables, just not as oppressive as it used to be. Han Green was kind of brought back. I know I just made a video on a Han Force deck with Green that's been really popular. Or I've loved it. It's not been popular yet, but I hope it gets popular because it's really fun. Keller and Beck's really good. Yoda's really good. They need a home. They might actually have a home now, and I'm excited about that.
Yeah, totally. I think Han 1 has a viable chance to come back to the meta. But what else? What else happens here? Like, what else does this affect?
You know, Hera Syndulla, Jyn Erso, Grand Inquisitor, just
the
very
big players.
Solid options.
Yeah, that's where I'm looking.
I do think I'm interested to see what does happen in the meta. I know I like the competitive scene quite a bit. I think Force Throw was something that kept a lot of control decks kind of at bay. Obviously, like if Sabine's really prevalent, control's tough to navigate. But a great way to beat control is the hand hate of let's get those late game removals out of there to where they're having a top deck early. So I'm curious of does control come back pretty like quickly as far as there's less things they have to worry about outside of like Sparker Rebellion to kind of navigate. And so even with those decks, there's less things hitting their hand that I think could make a comeback. But maybe that also means more Sabine because now control's coming back. We'll see what happens there.
Yeah, any deck that heavily relies on their leader, I think Anakin, although he was starting to see a resurgence here, like Anakin is a lot more viable because you can't just throw a crate from your hand and kill Anakin.
But Anakin also lost Force Throw too.
Right, and that's the next question. It's like, do any decks, obviously they take a hit by not having Force Throw, but do any decks just like go away? Like does Talzin become a bad deck now? Does Han 2 Blue become a bad deck now? Does Anakin Blue become a bad deck?
The only one I'm worried about is Quinlan Tarkin Town because
does Quinlan become a bad deck?
it's been so reliant on that being a major part of like what the deck's trying to do, and also being able to Force Throw and use Tarkin Town to kind of combine with its like to combine forces there. I feels like the Tarkin Town deck that's been the most prominently using Force Throw. I know Kylo can use Tarkin Town as well, so it's affected, but I don't think to the same degree that Quinlan might be.
Yeah. David?
I agree with Jim.
Thanks, man. That means a lot. Kind of a boring take, though, just being like yeah, Jim.
Does Talzin 1 Worlds wasn't played that much in all of these PQs. Was played some, but not to, like, the success that it had at Worlds. Like, is that a deck that, like, is going to be way worse now because it doesn't have Force Throw?
It's definitely worse, but I think it moves away from some of those styles of like messing with hand. Like Jedi in Hiding was a card that was paired with that a lot. That's also peeling cards from their hand. So I think you might just move away from something like that where Jedi in Hiding doesn't really do anything now, and just actually use better statted units. The issue with Talzin though is just the blue-red Force units aren't as good as some of the heroic ones are, especially early on.
Let's
So
ask
it'd
the
be-
hard-hitting questions. Is Turret
Alright.
Red just trash now? Like, can we no longer play that?
it makes me sad, but it might be.
Yeah, yeah.
It's an unplayable deck.
It's pretty dang close because that was the main reason to play Chirrut in red. But
Yeah.
but I've been the most recent deck I played in Star Wars Unlimited was a Chirrut Green Force deck. So
Hey,
Chirrut's not completely dead. In fact, he never dies. That's
Totally.
his whole thing.
Chirrut never dies. That's right.
Yeah.
He just
Until
kind
he
of
does.
disappears at the end of some turns.
Yeah.
Too funny.
is Sabine gonna take over the meta?
Initially, maybe. Yeah, though Andy mentioned that in here in chat, just that they mentioned on stream that's a very likely scenario. A lot of that does come from anytime there's a new meta. Typically, the proactive decks are the ones that have more early success, and then the control decks adapt to what those decks are trying to do. And so that's usually what happens in situations like that. Of the aggressive, push their agenda kind of decks thrive for a little bit, and then the control decks respond to all the threats, what's going on, and adapts accordingly. And that's when you'll determine of like maybe Iden is the control deck that comes back because it needs to heal more, or maybe Krennic is to like buff the stats and control the board. Maybe Kira finally makes its comeback, and so there's a lot there, but usually the control decks just take a little bit more time.
Nice. Is there anything you guys are excited about now that Forster's gone? I mean, obviously for me, Han won. I want to just play my Millennium Falcons and do my thing.
Not crazy amount. Obviously, you want to try all of the just fun decks that you've been working on and just see like what changes or what's different. And I do actually like have some interest in going back to other decks that use Force Throw and just to see can they still run or can they hang at all or are they just toast. And so I fear a lot of them will take a pretty big step back, but we'll see.
Yeah. It'll
Okay.
be interesting to see your question of like, does Talzin still have play?
Yeah.
Without, because you could do the Witch of the Mist into Force Throw turn 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great point.
And now what does that look like?
She was one of the few that was running Force Lightning really well, though, as well.
Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah.
she still has that against freaking Chewbacca's and Han ones.
As does the new Kylo too. So
Yep.
good
So,
point. So what's your all's opinion on FFG's like methodology for making this decision, specifically around the idea of like aggression is too prevalent in the top 8, therefore let's try to bring back that like color piece, I guess. Do you feel like that's an appropriate way to kind of analyze cards that should be looked at for suspension?
I don't think that's the only way they think about suspension too, because I feel like DJ got the boot for more than just there's a lot of yellow. It was just
Right.
It was such a negative play experience. Like it I think that
Well,
at least factored into it.
I think a more apt comparison than DJ, because DJ's double yellow when you smuggle him, right? He's double yellow normal. I don't remember.
Yeah. It's double yellow both sides.
Regardless, Surprise Strike would be like the Force Throw of yellow. Like if everything was yellow and all the decks are running Surprise Strike, which happened at one point.
Mhm.
They didn't ban Surprise Strike, but in this case they're banning Force Throw. So
Yeah. I just thought it was very prevalent in the stream today as far as their justification for why Force Throw. Where I think any of us that have been around the game for a while can identify the ways that Force Throw, if we're really breaking it down, just kind of is a feels bad card in a lot of instances. There's some that feel really cool to pull off, and you're like, I did this thing that's really powerful, and that was awesome. Force Throw just kind of feels like this inevitability of like, what am I actually supposed to do? Yeah, I think that's probably a big piece of what that looks like. And if it limits creativity for deck building, that's something FFG has shown they do really value things being viable, and for you to be able to like try it, especially if the game's called Star Wars Unlimited, but you only have 3 possible opportunities to play a deck, it's not really unlimited. And so yeah, creating more avenues for that creativity to be possible, I think it's a good idea.
yeah, the game was super stale, Seraph. Super stale.
Did you guys Did
Yeah.
you guys want to see Tarkin Town on that list?
That's a good question.
No, Tarkin Town for me has, I think because it's just on the board, there's just ways to play around it. So it's like the moment I see Tarkin Town, it's there. There's something about like them drawing Force Throw, it just feels extra bad of like, you're still playing around it, but it's not the same level of consistency. Or when I see Tarkin Town on there, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to play pretty aggressive because they have less health. And now I just need to decide if I want to play into Tarkin Town early or make them try to work for it. Because sometimes both are correct. But I think there's a pretty linear strategy there, like when I see a base that does something like that.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think I wanted Tarkin Town to be on there, to be honest. Like, base, you're at least giving something up for this, right? You're giving up 5 HP. Force Throw, you're not really giving anything up. Like, Force, we mentioned it, and I mean, it's been talked about ad nauseum, is like the amount of Force units you have to choose from now. So you're not giving anything up to include Force Throw in your deck. So I don't think Tarkin Town's broken, although it can be really frustrating sometimes.
Yeah. There's also that question of how much do you do before rotation?
Yeah, exactly.
Which is tough because it's the same argument for Force Throw is about to rotate out.
Yeah, true.
But
what about the reasonings they gave about not bringing back Boba, Jango, or any of those yet?
I'm just grateful. There's no reason to unsuspend any of that crap.
The encouraging thing to me was that they are still testing it, though. Like, they're doing their due diligence as far as what they're saying. And I'm going to take that at face value of they're still making sure, yep, this still feels like a bad play experience, and we are going to stand by this decision. And so I think they're justified to not rush to bring it back. Obviously, this was more of a, like, surprise announcement that didn't match their typical timeline. But I'm grateful they're willing to do that, and they also aren't, like, using that feature too often. They're being very strategic about. They knew Force Throw was concerned going into set 5 meta. They've seen the results. A lot of people probably say this is too late. A lot of people probably be concerned of like, but it's about to rotate out. But they're doing their best to actually gather the data to make the decisions, which I'm grateful for.
I certainly don't think it's too late. We still have sectors and regionals this set, so it's definitely not too late.
The sentiment day of might feel like it's too late, but I totally agree with that.
Yeah. Now, I guess a deeper question that we can't fully get into here, it might be a podcast talk or something, is like, do you think it's bad the amount of cards that we've already had to have banned already?
That's a good question.
No, not at all. For 5 sets, that's not that many cards.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
I've seen other games way more.
The fact that Boba's the only one that actually feels like it was like, hey, this was just a mistake to print.
There's no way. Django feels like more of a design flaw than
that should
Boba.
never have been printed. Yeah.
Well, some of the things attached to Django being printed, like typically if there's a cool ability, there's like 1 or 2 things that work well with it, but it was just generic. You're right. It was just generically like,
way
what are we
too
doing?
good.
Yeah.
So, and some of that might have been because Boba was like in testing. Boba was so good that they were like, Django doesn't even come close. We're like, no, Django's right there. Just maybe not as noticeable of an issue sitting next to Boba.
Yeah.
So,
One day we'll have to do a Boba Django brawl.
that's right. For ultimate supremacy.
Yeah.
Hey,
Good
Clockwork
stuff.
asked if Force Throw being suspended makes any of us more excited to get back into Premiere, and he talked about especially me being checked out of it. My issue with Premiere is not related to Force Throw. If anything, I played Force Throw in like every competitive deck I actually played. It's more that I just enjoy Limited so much more than Premiere. That's just where I want to spend my time. And Twin Suns, it's like this other balance. So it's not really that as much of I just enjoy the other versions so much more. And speaking of which, because I only have like 3 more minutes before I need to go. There was a tease in the video. I don't know how many people caught this, but our good old buddy Jack, who looked great by the way. Let's just
my gosh,
handsome
what
as
a
ever.
community manager,
Handsome
right?
as ever.
Gosh dang. But he said he mentioned Trilogy and said and there will be an update to Trilogy format. Like he just sort of slid that in there, and I was like, oh, are they finally going to get rid of all the crappy decks that make me never want to touch Trilogy? That would be awesome. Because that would then all of a sudden I go, oh, okay, that's fun.
Yeah. Now
Because right now I don't even want to touch it with it. I mean, you could right now you could play your Force throws in Trilogy, and you can still play it in Twin Suns too.
Is the simple change just have the same ban restricted list, ban suspended
I
list?
would.
Good chance.
I would.
Yeah.
I think that's a really easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If in their events it's been everybody's bringing out Boba and Django and they're winning, I think it's
And
one
Han
thing of like
Yolo.
I finally get to play it. Yeah, definitely. To answer the question though, yes, I'm more excited to deck build, but not like, oh my gosh, I just got to get back in the kitchen and cook up everything. Anytime there's a change, I get excited to at least see what's different. That's the piece that's fun for me. We've talked about it a lot here on this channel as well, but something about like the set being released early from spoils, like somebody
Leaked.
spoiling the set. Leaked. Thank you. Yeah, just made it tough. It's just this set's been out for a lot longer because of that. Totally understand with World or Galactic Championships coming up that they had to do that, but it has made us look at these same cards for a long time. So any change feels like a good change right now.
Yeah, I'll just be brutally honest. This meta is trash. I don't want to play at all.
Heard it here first. All right, guys. I think that's it. Any other last thoughts?
Nope.
Good stuff. Well, thanks for tuning in. You have a week to throw some force, and then it's gone, baby. See y'all later.
Bye.